My name is Frederick Sterdivant. So my responsibilities with Fathers Among Men is I'm the director of our Macon activities. So anything that we're doing in Macon as far as writing grants, actual day-to-day activities, and working with the youth, I'm a part of here in the Macon, Middle Georgia area. So Fathers Among Men is an organization that me and my best friend started in 2016, and then we incorporated in 2018. And it was because we were both young fathers, and we looked around at our friend group, and a lot of us didn't have a network of individuals that were fathers to be able to learn from, work with, and to be able to just socialize the idea of fatherhood, because it's something new, something different. And I also have always had a passion of trying to make an impact, because when I was young in high school and middle school, I got in a lot of trouble, a lot of different things. There were a lot of people who looked out for me along the way. I had a resource officer in middle school named Miss Sands that when they wanted to expel me several times, and she kept me in school. And so I had other people in high school that kind of kept me, even when they didn't have to. And so I always felt the need to want to give back once I kind of got things on track to do that. And Fathers Among Men was our way of being able to start that. So creating that space where men can come together and talk and have that communication around fatherhood, it really helps. And then for us, the other part about that is that anytime you want to go to a problem to try to fix it, you need an immediate solution and a long term. And so that's how we got into mentoring as well. Because if you're going to mentor, or if you want to impact the community long term, if you teach young men that are between 8 and 16 what responsibility and accountability are, then they'll be more likely, when they become fathers, they'll be more responsible and do more impact in communities. So there's a couple, but the first one that comes to mind is that we have a young man in our program named Leland, right? And we had a summer program on between his 7th grade year, while he was going to the 8th, right? And so once the year started, followed up with them and was talking to the different kids about how was the school year going. They were about a month and a half in, 2 months in. He said 8th grade is easy. He said, I'm doing better in all my classes. I'm doing this. I got these grades. He was proud to show about his grades. Plus, he told me a story. He said, I walked into this teacher's classroom, and she had a poem on the wall. It's a poem that Nelson Mandela used in his inauguration speech, and it talks about our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measure. And so that was a poem that we had them work on that summer. And so when he walked into there with the teacher, she had it on the wall, and he was like, I know that poem. And she was like, where you know that from? He was like, I learned it. She was like, no, you don't. And she doubted him, right? And so what he did, he recited the poem right there in front of her. And she was blown away. And you could see him talking about that. And it changed his mindset, I believe, at that moment about education. Because he had pride in the fact that he knew it. Now, did all of them want to learn it at first? No. But because he knew it, and because he talked to it, and he could recite it right there in front of her, he had a sense of pride. And once youth start having pride about education, or about learning something, about what they know, then what happens? They end up getting better. They end up doing it more, and they don't feel so much like an outcast for being intelligent, right? So when we are working with them, and they're increasing their reading efficacy, and they're definitely getting better, and it's getting more comfortable for them, well, you're giving them a foundation that they can build off of, and that pride that he ended up having from it. Like, you can see a change. And the thing that I tell any parent is this. Our mentoring program and what we do is not, though it may seem like it's about the relationship of the mentor and the mentee, but it's not. It's about creating an environment where the youth learn to be accountable to one another and hold each other accountable. But if we can build partnerships, then we build power, we build influence, and we develop synergy. And so a concept that I personally like to use and try to teach the kids, it's a word we use, BUCHNI, which is an acronym for Build Until They Cannot Ignore You. And so what I hope is that they see how important it is for our men to be involved in all aspects of our community. And fatherhood is very important for our men because, our kids help us, push us to be greater.